So I really hope we get the point I'm trying to demonstrate between Leviticus and the book of Matthew. So the reason why this is important, when you go to the book of Matthew, let's go to the book of Matthew, because I'm suggesting, I hope actually, that we are not looking at these verses in the world perspective, because this is a spiritual lesson that Christ is trying to demonstrate here. So let's get the context of why Christ would address the issue of adultery here. And as I have said, on his perspective, Christ points at men because they have always gotten it wrong. They have always more oriented to seeing women as the cause of the mess, because that's how they understand from Leviticus. So when you go to Matthew chapter 5, so I want us to begin looking at the structure of the verses before and after to get why Christ would address the issue of adultery here. So, and actually, this is the story of the New Testament. So this is the Old Testament. This is the New Testament. And this is the first time, this is the first mention of the issue of adultery. And you know what that entails for us when we use the rule of the first mention. Christ is actually going to give us the DNA of how the issue of adultery we understood. And so when you go to chapter 5 from verse 1, they are called the Beatitudes. These are blessings from verse 3. Blessed are the poor, all that. Until verse what? Until verse 11, right? Blessed are the poor, blessed are these, blessed are they which persecute the, all that. Then when you go to from verse 12 up to verse 16, it's a way of encouragement. He tells them to rejoice, tells them you're even the salt of the world and all that. Speaks in a parabolic language. And I want us to begin looking at it from verse 17. So we're in Matthew chapter 5, from verse 17. So from 5:17, what is Christ going to say? I hope we are following together. Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. So Christ says, think not that I come to destroy, but I come to do what? Fulfill. So you know, what is the meaning of the word fulfill? Yes? Yes? What is to fulfill? Nasikia hapa, yes? Kutimiza. Is that a meaning or a translation? Someone else here said something. Yeah? To bring something to a completion. So I'm going to say to complete. So people say it's tautology. So if you just say full, it means full. Fill, it's the same. It's like a repetition. So Christ is coming to make to a completion what and what? The law. So we have the law and the prophets. So what is the law? When Christ says the law, what is Christ talking about? Respect. I can't hear what you're saying. What was written by Moses? Anyone with a different opinion? The Ten Commandments. Anyone else? Better? The Mosaic law. Anyone else? So what did Christ come to fulfill? Only the 10. The 10 covers all. The 10 covers all. I'm going to suggest a new research. It's not a new concept. These are Moses' writings. Which, how many books? 5. The 5 books. and they are the ones that contain the laws, the statutes, the ceremonial, the mosaic, whatever you want to. All of them, they repeat and enlarge. Senior, what about the prophets? Yes? The rest of the books. I hope you can see that. I hope you know by this time, the New Testament does not exist. So the only Bible we have is that 9 books. So if these are 5, the prophets is how many books? 34. 34. So Christ is saying, I did not come to destroy anything Moses' writings or the sayings of the prophet says, but I come to make them complete. Question. Why would Christ say that? One give. Why would Christ say, I did not come to destroy, I came to fulfill? You have an idea? Who has an idea? Jeff? What would Christ say? I did not come to destroy, I came to, okay, I'm sorry. One habit I have, when I read something, I always try to question in the positive sense to get the storyline. I want to enter into someone's mindset and ask, why would I say this? I don't always get it right, but I want to think about it. Christ says, don't think not. So it says think not. What comes into your mind? Yeah. Good. They think, what did Christ come to do? To destroy. Can you see that? And how is Christ destroying according to their perspective? He always does contrary to what they believe Moses said. So when Christ reasons, acts, speaks, when they weigh him, what do they realize? You are destroying the law and the what? And the prophets. So he tells them, think not that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. And I want us to go with that line of thinking to the next verses. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one title shall no wise pass from the law, till it be fulfilled. So, and whoever shall break one of these, of the least commandments, and shall teach men, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. So when you continue reading, you will actually see, by the time you get to verse 21, he says, you have heard that it was said by them of old time, you shall not do what? Kill. And whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment. But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother, who without a cause, shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, is it Raka? What's that? You know, Raka shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire. So when you go to verse 21 and verse 22, what do you realize? Actually, reading, actually up to verse 26. So we're in 5 from verse 21 to 26. So Christ is going to speak about king. Why? You need to connect with the previous verses. Why? So these are people who think he is destroying. So what is in their mindset? What do they want to do? To kill him. To kill him. So he's going to read their hearts. And what does he tell them? You are thinking to do it, but by your thinking, you're already doing what? Are you getting my point? He can read their hearts. And he's telling them, it was saying, do not kill. But I'm saying, the moment you have fault with me, so when he says your brother, he's not telling anyone else. He's saying what? I can see you have fault with me. And the moment you have fault with me, what have you already done? Kill. Can you really see that? So he's able to read their minds and challenge what they think. If given a good opportunity, they would want to kill him because they think he's a problem to what they understand and believe in. And so Christ is telling them, it was told that you shall not kill, and whoever kills is in danger of judgment. Then he tells them, I say unto you, whoever is angry with his brother without a cause, so who is the brother? It's Christ himself. You have a problem with me without a cause. Already what have you done? So Christ is actually there indirectly rebuking these people because Christ can read what they think and reason. So when you continue reading, So we have seen the first part, it's the Beatitudes. Then he says, I did not come to destroy. And then he tries to exhibit the anger or the wrath of these people, what they want, and it begins to provoke them. So he's going to provoke them. You are actually killing me by hating me without a cause, because you are accusing me falsely that I did what? I'm destroying the law and the prophets. So we need to understand the context of what Christ is saying, and we need to understand the audience that Christ is addressing. Because whatever the prophet is saying is something that is surrounding the context of what Christ is saying, is what is happening to the people he is addressing. And the ones listening to him are what? Who are the ones who are accusing him? I'm going to just use one name, the leaders. The Pharisees and the Sadducees, they are the leadership. They are the ones who teach the law and the prophets. And they are the ones who see contrary to what they teach and believe, to what Christ is doing. And they are the ones who have a plan to kill Christ. And he's telling them, even without killing me literally, the moment you hate me, you're actually killing me. Verse 27, you have heard that it was said of them of the old time, you shall not commit adultery. So if you want to understand the context of this, we have to connect with the previous thoughts. You shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if the right eye offend thee, pluck it out, cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of the members should perish, and not the whole body that should be cast into hell. So when you go to 5:27 to 30, now Christ begins to address the issue of what? Adultery. And he tries to show that whosoever, it was told, do not commit adultery, but whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her has committed adultery with her already in heart. So it's not the act, but from what? So from this verse, adultery, Christ is going to give two perspectives. The one we know is that physical. But Christ is going to give about the what? The thoughts on the mind. That this is what we think, but he's saying even the mind. At the issue of king, this is what we think, but it's the issue of mind. Can you really see that? Every subject that you are going to see there, Christ tries to change the perspective of how they understand it, because he can relate how they think about himself. He is the example. Then when you go to verse 31, it has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. So from verse 31, now Christ is going to speak about what? Divorce. What is divorce? So it's in the verse, don't think, because if you do that, we still have problems like here. The verse says, but I say unto you that whosoever shall put away. So the next verse is repeats, divorce is to put away. Whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of what? Fornication, causes her to commit what? And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced commits what? Now Christ complicates issues here. But he says the only option you put away is only through what? So what is Christ talking about here? What is the story about? I want us to really see it in a prophetic perspective, because this is a story, we'll pick symbols here, between a man and a what? And this relationship here has another character. I'm going to put the secret admirer as my example. So this is how it should look like, this one here. But when you have the third party, there is a problem. Can you really see that? Because what does it become? Adultery. The only option you need to put divorce is only through fornication. And I don't want us to look at it in the literal perspective, because Christ is teaching the Jewish nation a lesson. When you go to the beginning of this generation, when they were church Ephesus at Mount Sinai, how does Moses describe that? As a what? A marriage. Can you remember that? Here, this kingdom going into a covenant with God, it was illustrated through the model of a marriage between a man and a woman. And they took their vows. When they were read, what did they say? All that the Lord has said, we are going to do what? We will do. And they were betrothed one to another, and they became covenanted. The model you'd use is marriage. And now a time has come, and what is Christ trying to do? Trying to show that this marriage is not long lasting, because the marriage is about to do what? To break. And the only way Christ is willing to break the marriage is through what? What she calls fornication. Because I'm suggesting, who is this? This is God. This is Christ. Married to who? Who is the woman here? The Jewish kingdom. But this woman, these people, what have they done? What have they done? What have they done? They have an affair with someone else. Who is this person? Yes? You have an idea? Satan. Okay, I agree. Primarily Satan. But who, in real sense, who is that? Yes?
They say for the sense wrong.
Why would you say wrong?
We say that the Jews have been covenanted with God. It's only if you go through the history, they reach a time where the Jewish church will enter into a relationship with God. But call it the Jewish race. So I'm trying to learn that story from them.
So I'm going to suggest this is wrong. Who is the target audience? The leadership. They have departed from God and they are bowed down to Rome. And the story that Christ is trying to address, he is still hitting at the Jewish kingdom. He's telling them, this is what Moses told you. He's not speaking about an individual affair in this story. He's speaking about this affair between himself and this kingdom. And he's telling them, you have been betrothed to someone else. So this woman here, who is a married woman, has an affair with another man. This is the story that Christ wants to teach us here. And this sacred admirer, this man called Rome, thinks, what will Christ call this alliance? Because you know eventually there will be a divorce, true or false. This man will leave and get betrothed to another woman, the new Christian church. This story is about fornication. Because in this story, Christ does not give divorce in the lens of what? Adultery. Can you really see that? The only way you can divorce is through what? So, this fornication is between a married woman and a man. And I want us to come back here and look at the mindset of the Jewish culture. Because when you look at what the Jewish understand, and when you look at what the Old Testament morality looks like at this time, it is actually different from how we understand it today. And that's why when you look at it today, you even categorize, for this man, it's adultery, for this is fornication. I'm not saying that is wrong, because based on today's morality, that's how we understand, true or false. But we need to understand these verses in the Old Testament morality, because things look different. You can see for here, a biblical example, it's a married woman and a man, and what is Christ calling this? Fornication. Because when you come here, you're going to see, as the book of Leviticus put it, it is centered on the status of the woman. The advice is based on the woman marrying. That's where adultery comes from. So you're going to see that when you look at the first example, this married man and this married woman, this first example here, you have married man one and woman two married, people would say it's adultery. You have man three single and married woman. So, and people have a difficulty to establish, is it adultery or fornication? And the only understanding is, for the man, it's adultery. For the woman, it's fornication. But you are going to see that according to the book of Leviticus, as much as the woman is married, what do you call it? As much as the woman is married, what do you call it? Doesn't care about the man's status. It focuses on the woman. Christ's perspective is different. And so the reason why I'm giving us this is because I want us to understand the story in Revelation 17:2. Because there is a relationship between a woman. This woman is called a whore. And a what? Kings. I'm going to put the same as the man. And you need to ask ourselves, what type of relationship is this? Because if you use juxtapositioning, and I tried to do this in my last class, this is Revelation 12. This is Revelation 13. This is Revelation 17. And I tried to demonstrate how each contributes to another. In Revelation 12, you are given the perspective of a pure woman. Are we together? In Revelation 17, you are given a perspective of a what? Are we together? And when you have two things, what do you do? So you have a whore who wants to have an affair with the kings. So what should you know? This pure woman also wants to do what? To have an affair with the kings. And so the king has to choose between the pure woman and the what? And the moment they go into an alliance here, which is called fornication. So, if I put symbols here, this is, I'm going to put her single, she's not married. The kings themselves, and that's what the verse does not give you. But when you use juxtapositioning, you need to know that the kings are committing a crime by being betrothed to the whore. Because who is the original wife? The pure woman. Can you really see that? So you need to compare and contrast and realize this type of affair between a single and the kings, they should be what? Married. It's being called fornication. It's not adultery. As people would give, whether one side is married, that's adultery. The Bible calls it fornication because the king is betrothed. It's the same story here. God says, Christ is telling them, I have been married to you, but I'm going to divorce you because you're committing fornication. They were married, but they go to a man who has not been married. The Bible calls it fornication. So you need to be able to distinguish between adultery and fornication in the biblical context. So when you come into these stories, you can actually see two of them are adultery, two of them are what? Fornication. Single and single, I hope you can fully agree, this is fornication. This married man and woman single, fornication. But this is adultery. Because according to Leviticus, the status of the woman defines adultery. That's the morality of the Hebrew people according to the Old Testament. We would understand it differently today. But the Bible wants to show you a distinction between adultery and fornication. And the relationship that is here is being called fornication because it's between a single woman. So if it's a single woman, you can't put adultery. It becomes what? Fornication. Can you really see that?
Defined to me, according to the established that if you're married, you want to know that. So, in your Revelations 17, she's a home. The kings were commanded to do now. This particular woman, because she's a home, is that still adultery?
What?
The woman being a home.
Yes.
Is it still adultery yet she's a home?
No. She's called a whore because whore is the same of prostitution.
Yeah, so she's not. She's like, she's just living. She's not.
She just have an affair.
Yeah.
With someone who has been married. Married to who? Yes? The king. They should be married to the pure woman. But they are being betrothed to a home. So this affair between the kings and the pure woman is this good marriage that should be here. Are we together? But the kings decide we are going to put off our expected woman and you're going into an affair with someone else. And that alliance is the problem. So usually tunajua see kuna ile revolution what tunasema the whole seated upon the yes, yes. We equate that to the apostate church. Usually do that. So in a prayer, when we do a line, tunasemanga this code represents that. Yes. So it's see, she's now already betrothed to a certain religion. She's married to a certain religion. Okay. The woman itself, in that whole perspective, was a religion itself. So it's the manner in which we used to understand this affair was God married to a what? To a church, a religion, right? And what we used to say is that this whore is not married to any god. It's a satanic religion. Are we together? So it has always been our understanding that the whore has never been married. By then we used to say the whore is the Catholic Church, which becomes apostate Protestantism, right? So this whore who will have daughters, apostate Protestantism, we are going to see that she's going to have daughters not through a good marriage, but through an affair with someone who is someone's else. Let me put it that way. She's going to have an affair with kings, and who should betroth the kings? It's not the whore. It's this pure church. It's this pure woman. So, but the kings of the earth decide we will not be betrothed to the pure woman. Who are we going to be betrothed to? To the whore. And the moment they do that, they commit fornication, not adultery. So the whore has never been married. That's why I put her single. What is it? Are you getting my point? So the whore, when you speak about marriage, you can't say that the whore has been married to a religion, because by then we used to understand the whore itself as the religion. But this religion needs to have someone in control. We used to associate it with who? God. So God has never married the pagan church. God has always had the good church. And so we used to say the relationship between God and the Jewish church, which will be divorced, your house is left to your desolate, the husband leaves, a new marriage takes place here between God and the new Christian church. And so, since the new Christian church, the first church Ephesus, all along, the marriage that has been in existence is between God and his own what? Church. But this other church has not been married to God before. And I think that's why we always make a distinction during the Dark Ages. We need to realize there are two churches. The first church is this is Jezebel, according to Revelation chapter 2 and 3. The second church is who? The one that we call the Huguenots or the Waldenses. So God's church in the darkness, you need to distinguish the two women. So the pure church is not single. It's not? Single. Married to God. Yes. That's correct. Well, that changes. Where? Said that the single church, the pure church is single, but they're married to God. All I'm saying is that these kings, the example I gave here, I try to show Revelation 12 gives us a pure woman. Revelation 17 gives us a whore. So this pure woman is going to be single, but she is going to be betrothed to the kings. She should be betrothed to the kings. Are we together? So, and then instead of the kings alliancing with the pure woman, the kings end up getting married to who? To the whore. And this alliance, maybe I should just wrap that. And this alliance, this marriage between the whore and the kings, as Revelation 72 puts it, the Bible calls it fornication. And the reason why I did that, I wanted us to see the distinction. Because in what we understand today, someone who has been married before, going into a relationship with a single person, what did we call it? On the perspective of that person, we called it what? We said it's adultery. But the Bible wants to say, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. So the kings have committed fornication. They have not committed adultery. And it challenges our understanding today. The same story here. Christ is threatening the Jewish church. That's why she brings the issue of adultery in that verse to show, I am going to divorce you. And the only means I can divorce you is a result of what? Yet these are people who have been married. But we know when you are married and you have a secret admirer, this affair, what do we call it in our perspective today? Adultery. Are you seeing the difference? So the Bible seems to have a different understanding of the term fornication and adultery, a different perspective from what we have today. And that's what we need to familiarize ourselves with. That's why I gave this example and to try and help us see the sense in this. And I try to give the verses to show there is a difference. There is a reason why the Old Testament centers more on a woman and status being married. And there is a reason why Christ will come and put the center on men. I've seen more than 5 hands. Please let me finish. It's because we have Q&A. Because- Okay. Sabina was the first, then Joy, but I'll limit the hands. If you get lost, there is another day.
Yeah, I just want a clarification on Revelation 4.
Yes.
So we have the pure woman and we have the kings. The pure woman and the kings.
Yes.
Now, is that pure woman single or married?
The pure one.
Yes.
So I'm saying the pure woman should be betrothed to the kings. And so if you use juxtaposition, and I was trying to show there are 2 women here, and each of them is seducing one person. Who is the person being seduced?
Kings.
The kings. So these kings, the marriage that should be happening, this marriage, this is the correct marriage that should happen between the kings and the pure woman. You get my point? But what do the kings opt to do?
Let me just
Are they already
So
married?
the king, if we are saying you have the pure woman and the kings, they are supposed to have a relationship,
Exactly.
which is legal.
Exactly.
But now when you go to Revelation 17, it gives
They end up having a bad marriage, an illegal marriage.
But
You have already saying that this woman is married because
Who? Those were 2 different perspectives. According to the story here, I'm not bringing Christ. It's Linda who brought the perspective. And that's why I was using this perspective here to take principles to understand this perspective. My theme is marriage. So when you start bringing Christ, you're bringing a different story. I am bringing a comparison. I am bringing a comparison between a pure woman, between 2 women who should be betrothed to one person. So when you bring the story of pure woman, you are bringing this part of story. And I don't think this part of story, policy-wise, is connected to this. Because this is a story between Christ and his church. This is not a story between Christ and his church.
But I thought you married by the time you are answering me.
I took a principle. The principle I took is the aspect of married and single fornication, which is the aspect of married and single fornication. That's the perspective I wanted us to see. And I say this is a different story, but has the same principles. Because all along I'm trading a story about a woman and a man, a relationship. And I want us to see the dynamics of how this relationship looks like are the same dynamics here. And when we began the class, that dynamic, we would say adultery. By the virtue, one person is what? Married. Then I'm saying, according to the morality that exists in these marriages in the Bible, they don't bring that perspective as we understand it today. They are bringing a different perspective and they are calling it fornication. Because what we could agree today, we were saying, this one, single and single is what the only one we can call what? Fornication. But the Bible seems to sound otherwise. That one can be single, but as much as the woman is married, it calls it adultery. But when you come into the story now you are seeing, the manner in which we used to understand here at the beginning where I put fornication, you're going to see that the Bible does not agree with that perspective.
So to finish, so these kings, so we are just a position in Revelation 12 and 17.
Exactly.
So as to see these kings are married
Yes. To the
to the pure
the whore.
woman. No, maybe how I get it. They are married to the pure woman, but now they are going into what you call the admiring hope. They are going into a relationship. So that's the fornication. Because how did we come to the kings they are married? Unless we just a position 12 and 17.
Yes.
To give
So
us.
by the information given here, what do you do that information? You bring it this other side. So the dynamics of the information here is the dynamics that should be here. That's why you are juxtaposing two women. So you are seeing there is a whore, and this whore wants to be betrothed to the kings, right?
Which are married.
And yes, and these kings, this is not an affair that should actually happen. The true marriage should be between this and this. I don't know, maybe it's why we are using symbols. I'm saying this woman, I hope we would use a symbol that we have not applied. Who is a woman? I think the reason why people are struggling because they still have the mentality the woman is a what? And that's where you are messing up. Because the woman is not a church. The moment you discard that thought, because you are struggling, how can the church of God, pure, be betrothed to kingdoms of the earth? And that's not the case. I've not the one taught it, but I've seen it on one of our boards that the woman primarily represented a church in a certain dispensation. We need to ask ourselves, who is this woman? If you are still biased to think it's the church, you are having difficulties. And the woman is not the church. The woman represents something else. I would call it an entity. So there is an entity that should be alliance to kings. What was the purpose of God on this earth? Or what should the kings do? They should be, someone is uplifted to become a light bearer, to pull the kings of the world to who? To God. And these kings having alliance with this entity, that's the true marriage that should happen. But what do they choose to do? They go another way. They alliance to a different entity. That's what this story is all about. It's not about churches. Joy, and then it was.
So a question.
Yes.
Two. One of them is what's related to what Sabina was asking.
Yes.
For me, I'm still not seeing how the kings are married or are supposed to be married to the pure woman. Because the other question that is coming to mind, this woman in Revelation 12, then, well, speaking naturally, who got her pregnant? Is it these kings or who is it? And then the other question is that distinction that you're drawing between fornication and adultery. Me in Matthew 5 verse 32, I seem to see them being used almost interchangeably because adultery is still being used. Because Christ is saying you can only divorce a woman if she has committed fornication. That is, if she has gone outside and had sex with someone else, the secret admirer that we're referring to. But Christ is also saying, if you put away a woman for any other reason aside from fornication, and someone else comes and marries this woman, it means if you put away a woman for any other reason, it means she's considered married still, Cindy, and someone else comes and takes her. That person has committed adultery, and you're making this woman to commit adultery. So I'm seeing it's being called adultery. It's being called.
Why is it being called adultery? Because it's the status of the woman by the virtue she was married that makes it adultery. And that's what I wanted us to see from Leviticus. So if anyone picks her by the status that the woman is what? What does it become? Adultery. Are we together? So I don't see any discrepancies because it's the status of the woman that makes it adultery. And that's the perspective I want us to see. That Christ is saying, if you put a married woman, so the center point that qualifies something to be adultery is what? You having an affair with a woman who has the status of what? Marriage. It's adultery. But Christ wants to show you a difference. They have the same nature, adultery and fornication, but we need to see the differences. Committing adultery does not qualify you to divorce. The only thing Christ says qualifies is what? Fornication. Are we together? So there is a difference between fornication and adultery, though they have the same nature. It's an affair with someone else. By virtue that the woman has been married, the woman having an affair with a secret admirer, Christ calls it fornication. But a woman having an affair with another married man or a single man, the woman, God calls it what? Adultery. So the epicenter of what qualifies adultery is the virtue of the woman being what? Married. Whether the man is single or married. The Bible defines adultery, and that's the interpretation we had from Strong's. The Bible defines adultery by the virtue that the woman has been married. So whatever the relationship you have, as long as the woman has been married before, adultery. That's the perspective. And that's why in this story, the whore is not married. So if the woman is not married, can it be adultery? Yes or no? It becomes what? Fornication. Because the Bible shows the status of the woman being married is the adultery. And that's why the verse is here where we have a married woman, adultery, not fornication. Then the other question you are saying to the pure woman, and I think
Just before you move on, but the woman that Christ is talking about, isn't she married?
which one?
The one Christ is talking about. Yakisema, if you put away a woman for any other reason other than fornication, isn't that woman who's committing fornication married?
Yes, she's married.
So simboni inaitwa fornication na bado inaitwa adultery.
Sijui kama mimi na wewe ndio elewana. Yesu amepeana. Let's go to Matthew 5. So, ilikuwa verse 27. 32. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife. So let's break down here. So the one who is called whosoever is a what? Is a man. And this man is being what? Put away. What? The wife who is a woman. Si ni kweli? So, but whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication. So the only way you can put away your wife is only one option. Which one? Fornication. Are we together? Then it says, saving fornication, saving for the cause of fornication. So you're putting your wife away because what has the woman done? So the woman has a secret admirer. Can you see that? And the woman with a secret admirer, this is what Christ calls fornication. So Christ says, this is the only justification. If you dare do put her away with another reason, are we together? And then the woman, this one, I'm going to put another symbology here. The wife or the woman, this one, ends up having a relationship with another what? With another man. Si ni kweli? What does that become? So what does this become? So this wife here, with another man, you put her for the wrong cause. You put her away. And by the statute that this woman was married, the kind of man you have, be it single, be it what? Married, the status of the woman, what does they qualify it to be? Adultery. Are we together? And so, before you raise your hand, let's finish on this.
Ijua, I agree with all that. Kitu yenye sijui kama unaona yenye nauliza, what's the difference between hii line iko hapa chini na hiyo line iko hapa chini? Kwa sababu, what's the, because hapo juu hapo wife, that's
Yes.
married woman.
Yes.
Married woman plus man, whatever kind of secret admirer ni nani. Married woman plus man inaitwa fornication. Alafu tena married woman plus man inaitwa adultery.
Yes, the difference is this is a putting away which is justified.
No, but tuachane na mambo ya putting away, because the point is not the putting away. The
Exactly.
point is the sin. The
Yeah.
sin is fornication.
Exactly.
And the sin is a married man has slept with a married woman has slept with a man. that is being defined as fornication. Alafu tena, a married woman sleeping with a man inaitwa adultery.
And the reason I'm saying there is a difference is here you are putting away this wife because who has messed up? The man or the woman?
The woman.
Tuko pamoja?
Yeah.
Unamput away because amefanya nini? Mess up. Ni kweli? This putting away, who has messed up? The man or the woman?
Which putting away?
This one.
There's no putting away there.
You have divorced a woman here, and because you have divorced her, she has gone into a relationship with someone else. Ni kweli? So umemput without the issue of fornication. Si put away. So there are two divorces. If I may put it well. You are going, divorce one, ni hii hapa. This wife, you are putting her away because she has a secret admirer. Si kweli? So in this divorce one, who has messed up this? This one. Si kweli? Ndio maana inasema the wife ndiye akona shida. Alafu Yesu anasema if you put her away without this issue being the woman in cause, so has the woman wrong when you put her away in part 2? So the woman is righteous. Who is the problem? It's the man. Can you really see that?
Which man?
Wewe,
The husband.
the husband.
The husband.
The husband. Wewe, I don't know whether you're getting the two perspectives. I have an affair with someone. Si kweli? This someone has a secret admirer. Si kweli? So who has the problem? Me or her? Si kweli? So, and if she has a secret admirer, what does the Bible call that?
Fornication.
Yes. And do I have a right to put her away? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Now, I put her away. She has not committed fornication, another cause. Si ndio Bible inasema? And then, if I put her away for another cause, who has the problem? Her or me?
You.
It's me. That's why I'm saying divorce 1 is caused by the wife. Si ni kweli? Divorce 2 is caused by the man. You are putting your wife unlawfully. She has not wronged anything that should make you divorce her. Are you getting my point? If you are the one wronged her and made her go to another marriage, she has not wronged. You have made her do what? You have made her commit what? Because you have disposed her and she has not wronged you. And those are the two different perspectives I want us first to see. Then, with those two different perspectives, I want us to see the mentality the Bible puts us, that it is going to call it adultery because, it's going to call it first fornication because this putting away the woman is the problem. And that's the mentality. The adultery that is here, that is being put, it's being called adultery because the woman has an issue. But Christ comes and changes the perspective and makes also the man an issue. Can you really see that? So I want us to see there are two differences between the two alliances. This one, the wife has the problem, and if the wife has the problem of the wife is what? It's fornication. So the wife is married, the man and the woman are married, but within the marriage, the wife decides to go out. Menishika. Example 2, the man discards the wife, so there is no relationship, and the woman is free, and she decides to go have an affair. So when the woman is free, is she married or divorced? You have put her off.
Without cause.
That's your perspective. The Bible says the moment you put her off, what do you call that? Divorce. So when she's divorced, how are you going to say you are still married? Exactly. So when you put her away, is the woman still married?
Yes.
How?
If you put her away na hakuwa amefornicate.
Still umemdivorce, lakini makosa si yake. That's the part I want us to see. Si ni kweli?
But she's still
She's considered married. Kwa sababu
that's to me, I don't think when you divorce someone, when you file a divorce, how do you end up saying you are still married?
it's not even considered a legitimate divorce. It's not considered a legitimate
The verse
divorce.
does not define the issue of adultery by it being legitimate or illegitimate. The point I want us to see is the moment you put her away, you take the blame. You take the blame, si ni kweli? Because when umemfanya aende commit a sin, si ni kweli? But it still happens.
So unaweza sema hiyo divorce ya kwanza ni justified. And then the second one
is unjustified. Exactly.
So from there, we can now agree how to term this activity. Kama ni adult ya maini. Sababu kusema once.
Ndio hiyo sasa. I think you're getting my point. I want us, they're saying there are no differences, and me, I'm saying there are a lot of differences when you combine the two relationships. Number one, you are divorcing. If divorce one is different from divorce two, then you should not give them the same name. If putting away one, you are putting, if Christ, let's use this one. Why is it here? When Christ put away the Jewish church, does he still claim I'm married? True or false? Does she claim I'm married, Whisper? When she's put away? Does she claim I'm married, the Jewish church? She says, when you are divorced, you're no longer married. The relationship has stopped. True or false? Whether you are it's the church that has the problem or the man that has the problem, the virtue is there is no more marriage. If you still want to carry the thought that the woman is married, that's where we are differing. Because I'm saying the divorce happens, whether it's the wife who is the problem or the man who is the problem. Once the divorce happens, no more marriage. That's my perspective. Doesn't matter. Without cause is what shifts the blame from the wife to the man.
So how I understand Joy's question is, when you come to verse 32 that we are friend, there is putting away your wife
Yes.
because of fornication.
Exactly.
So kuna fornication. And because you have done that one, the effect is whatever that the wife will do is fornication. You are the cause of what the wife has done. So the question is, what is the difference? Because the man is putting away his wife because of fornication. Now, what is the difference between adultery and fornication?
And that's what it's very clear. We have said put away is what? Sinikweli. Put away is what? So you have divorced your wife with a cause. Sinikweli.
It is fornication.
Fornication.
So this woman was married. I just want to go to the structure that you have there.
Okay.
This woman is married.
Yes.
Before you have been put away.
Yes.
You're married. You have a relationship with another person.
Exactly.
That is fornication.
Exactly.
So the question is.
So this fornication, let's put that on the board as you have put it.
Yes.
So there is an existing
marriage. Yes.
Can you all agree to that? The existing marriage is that this man is married to who? This woman.
Yes.
But what the woman does, she ends up having a secret admirer. Sinikweli?
Yes.
So the marriage is existing because the divorce has not yet happened. Can you all see that?
Yes.
It's this alliance, which the Bible calls fornication, that will make you what? Put her away.
So before you go, so the woman there who is married is going to have an affair with the status of being married.
Yes. So the woman is married with the status of being married. She has an affair. Yes, with another man.
And that affair is called
Fornication. Yes.
Now, and we defined here fornication, adultery is based on the status of a woman. Now I think when you look at the structure there, this woman is married, is having a relationship, is called fornication. So the question is, the fornication and adultery, when you come to the New Testament, it doesn't seem having a difference. I think that's what the question is.
Oh.
If I get that.
So you are saying that the issue that is the problem is the fornication here, this fornication that is happening here between a married woman
and another
man, the secret admirer. This aspect of a married woman with another man, it's called fornication.
Yes.
Are we together? So, and you're saying you don't see it different with what?
That is the question. What is the difference then
between
fornication and adultery? Yet we defined in the Old Testament, adultery is based on status of a woman.
Yes.
But when you come to the New Testament, it seems like this is a woman who is married, having an affair with someone else. It's called fornication. So
I really say, you remember, we need to realize the different perspectives that the book of Leviticus chapter 20 verse 10 and the book of Matthew 5:27 gives us. So when you come to the book of Leviticus 20, I said, the Old Testament spirit puts more weight to the issue of adultery by the status of the woman being what? Married. Can you all see that? Then I say, when you come to the book of Matthew 5:27, you're going to see Christ shifting the perspective because it's not centered on the woman alone, but because we are not given the status of the man, Christ seems to focus on the what? On the man. Are we together? And then says, you, the man, if you have an affair with a woman, and Christ gives the two perspectives. You know what these ones? It was told of you that this is what they understand, physical contact between a man and a woman. That's adultery. But I'm saying, you man now, the perspective is not on the woman, but it's centered upon the man. You man now, having an affair with a woman, what do you call that? Adultery. Are we together? So you need to see that the perspective of Leviticus, and I've repeated it again, gives us the woman perspective. The perspective of Christ gives us who has the perspective? The man. Are we together? And now I am going to the book of Revelation 17. And I'm saying, when you go to the book of Revelation 17, it's going to use the spirit of this perspective. And I'm saying, the woman here, you need to bring in juxtaposition. A woman in chapter 12, the pure woman, and a woman in chapter 17. So when you bring these two together, juxtaposition gives us a lot of tension.
Yeah.
It has a different nature from compare and contrast. When you compare and contrast, in most cases, compare and contrast gives us two things which are similar or like properties. Like you compare two pens. It's so easier to compare and contrast, but it's so difficult to compare a pen and a whiteboard. So, because you have to force issues, that's what juxtaposition does. So when you bring in the whole, this woman of Revelation 17, who is a bad woman, I would say, and you bring in this pure woman, who is a good woman, you realize by this information that there is a whore who is seducing kings. Are we together? And this seduction of kings, who is doing the work? The kings or the whore? Are we together? So, and these kings, what do they do? When they are seduced, what do? They commit fornication. So I'm saying, when you compare this perspective and bring it here, you're going to see the same should happen for the pure woman. That this pure woman has seduction with the kings, but the kings choose to commit fornication rather than have this justified marriage. Are we together? So all we need to understand is the setup of this story. The perspective that Christ gives us here, and this is the same concept I was trying to explain. You have a man here who is going to put the wife. So Christ is going to expound the understanding of which subject? This one. And I said it well. It's the first mention. So Christ is going to give us a better DNA of the issue of adultery. And Christ says, there is a man here who is going to put away the wife. Because the wife, what has the wife done? Fornication. So they have a relationship, are we together, with this woman, and this woman ends up having a secret admirer. And this story is the story that I was trying to explain here in the book of Matthew, that this is dealing with God, who is about to put away the Jewish kingdom. And this Jewish kingdom, it's because they have been enticed to alliance with a secret admirer, Rome. And so Christ says, according to what the law of Moses wanted, the law of Moses did not want divorce. What is that? The law of Moses did not want divorce. Put away only through one thing. What is that thing? Fornication. And so, how does fornication look like according to the Bible? Fornication looks like you being in a relationship, getting married to a secret admirer. And that's the same perspective I put here, that these kings ought to be in a relationship with a pure woman. But what do the kings do? They go to a secret admirer. And what does the Bible call that? Are you getting my point up to that point? So this story is this story. And then I say it challenges our understanding of how we understand the term fornication and adultery. Are we together? Because to us, adultery, as long as these ones here, as long as there is the status of marriage, be it a man or a woman, what do we understand that to be? Adultery. So, and we give examples. You are a married man, you have an affair with a single woman, and we would say, we understand as much as the man is married, we will call that adultery. This one, you have a single man, and then this one, you have a single man married, having an affair with a married woman, we would call that adultery. But I want us to pick from all these 4 examples and realize that the affair that we are dealing with Revelation 17, verse 2, is the affair number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which affair would we pick here? Yes? Which affair would we pick here? This one. This is the affair we pick from Revelation 17, 2. That these kings, they did not choose the pure woman. They ought to have had a good marriage, but what did they end up doing? Having an affair with a whore. And I was trying to say, we started having problems because we wanted to associate the woman with the church. And I'm saying, with the current understanding, don't know that my time is up. Okay, I don't know. Sorry. So the current understanding that we have is that the pure woman here does not primarily represent the church. So the pure woman here is not a church entity as we have always understand. And the moment you take away that line of thinking, then you are going to have some harmony, that there is a relationship and it's not about church and state. Because the problem I would think people have is to ask, how do we have God's church with kings of the earth? How does that look like? And I'm saying the symbol woman, the perspective we have had for long is that she's a symbol of the church. And I'm saying that's not the case.
So why go with the Old Testament and not the first mention of fornication in the New Testament?
So I would suggest, whether people are comfortable or not, let me finish my thoughts. We have Q&A. If you still hang out, and maybe some of the answers are in my next thoughts, you spend the entire time trying to force issues, and I still have a lot of things to cover because we still have the entire Q&A, right? So let me finish. So I wanted to touch more about the people. Think. So I wanted to touch about the relationship. I want to touch a little bit about the people. So when you look at the people, so back to Revelation 12, 17, sorry. And you look at the structure that I had given. This one here. First dispensation, second dispensation, third dispensation. And I say, John wants to be shown the judgment. So, and I asked, why is she being judged? And we say, because she has done what? She's done something. And I say, whatever she has done, we'll trace it here. So this is where John stands. literally, but he's going to time travel to see the judgment. So, and if you remember the last time, we also established a concept where we say you need to understand the two perspectives, the panoramic, which is this entire, and the what? And the dispensational perspective. So when John is given the 7 kingdoms, when John is given the 7 kingdoms, he's given a panoramic concept, but he's also given a dispensational concept. And I say, if you want to have more and better understanding of whatever story we are talking about, be it 7 or 6, you can use the history of the dispensation to understand the history of any of them. So this short perspective will give you a better understanding of each of the kingdoms there. So, and I want us to see that for us to understand what the woman has done, we need to go to one of the dispensation where we have seen the activities of the woman. Are we together? And then we will know what the woman has done. And by the way, just to put it clear, I hope we understand that the original intent of Revelation 17, whatever is happening, are activities that have already taken place. When John sees the woman, John is seeing the woman here when she has already done something. And this dispensation too, this one, is what John is first shown. So when you go to verse 3, he says, so John is told, I'm going to show the judgment. But before John is shown the judgment, John is shown what? What the woman did for her to receive what? Judgment. And verse 3 tells us he's carried in spirit into where? So John is taken into the wilderness. That's the first place John is shown. And I think I tried to, in my last class, to correlate the wilderness here with that of Revelation 12. And when John is taken in the wilderness, what is John going to see? What will John see? The woman. And she sees the woman riding on a what? On a beast, the scarlet beast. So when John is taken, he sees the woman riding on a scarlet beast. And John will give us the descriptions of how the woman looks like. She's arrayed in purple, on her forehead. All those descriptions from verse 4, 5. And when you go to 6, John is going to see something else. What is John going to see? The woman is drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of who? Of Jesus. And when I saw her, what did John do? So the beast, the woman is drunken with the what? With the blood of the saints. And when John sees that, how will John respond? John will do what? John will marvel. Is it marvel or wonder? Wonder. What's the verse? It's wonder, not marvel. John will wonder. Where is not writing? So John will wonder. Who else wonders? Daniel is revelation. Who else wonders? Yes? Who else wonders? It's Daniel. Where does Daniel wonder? It's Revelation, Daniel chapter 12. Let's go to Daniel and see what wonders Daniel. So when you go to Daniel verse 6, Daniel is going to see a conversation between two characters. And then the question is asked, how long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which is upon the waters of the river, when he held his right hand and his left hand upon heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, time said a half, and when he shall have finished to scatter the poor of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. But I heard and understood not. Then said, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? Saying, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. So many shall be purified, made white and tried. Wicked shall continue to do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And then is given from the time, blessed, and all that. So I want us to see if you prove that the concept of wonder and take it to Daniel, which complements Revelation, it takes you to which history? The 12 of 60. Can you really see that? And in this history of the 12 of 60, there is a power called He. And what will this power do? He shall scatter the what? Is it the power of the holy people? So we have a story here, a woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and we have a power here who is going to scatter the whole people. And so when you connect those two thoughts, and another thought I want us to connect is the book of Revelation chapter 13. So as I said, Revelation 13 is Revelation 17. Here you have a sea beast. So you have a beast, and this beast is coming out of what? The sea. Here you have a beast. It's called the scarlet. This one, the scarlet beast. And this beast is in the what? Wilderness. So you need to see the comparisons between the two. One on the sea, the other one on the wilderness. And when you look at Revelation 13, it is the story that well explains at number 2. This dispensation. Because when you look at this beast, and you look at what the Bible tells us, it rises out of the sea with heads and horns and 10 crowns. I'm not going to touch on that. I did in my last class. And the beast which I saw was the description given there. And then verse 3 speaks of a head wounded to death, and the deadly wound healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So, verse 3 repeats in Revelation chapter 17. And then they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, and they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given to him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. Verse 7, and it was given to make war with the saints, and to overcome them. And power was given him over kindred, tongues, and people. So when you go to verse 7, it speaks about the beast to making war with what? Making war with the saints. And when you look at the concepts that I've picked, and you go back to Revelation 17, you're going to see a lot of connections. So John is in the wilderness and he sees a woman. So I say the perspective of Revelation, the focus is more on the woman. But when you go to Revelation 13, it's speaking about the what? Who is making war in Revelation 13? The beast. But when you go to Revelation, who is wearing out the saints? the woman. But you know, the symbology you have been given is the woman controlling the beast. So, and I remember trying to demonstrate that the woman has control over the beast. So, if you have control of someone, that control, we say it's an advice that the woman gives to the beast. So, if the woman is giving advice to the beast, and one perspective tells us it's the beast doing this work of wearing out the saints, we need to realize, as much as the other verse speaks of the woman doing something to the saints, she's the one who controls the mindset of the beast. So whatever form of persecution we are seeing the beast doing, it's all ideas from who? From the woman. And you see that? So the woman has a role to do. And we need to ask ourselves, why is the woman persecuting? Who are these being persecuted? And I want us to see the original intent of the woman was to control the people. She uses the kings to control the people. So if you defy to be under the subjection, to be under control, what happens to you? You are persecuted. Can you really see that? So the beast wants to, the woman wants to control the people. It's gonna happen through the beast. So those who comply, they receive a lie, a delusion. Those who do not comply, they are going to be persecuted. So I know my day is up. I don't even know what not to say. We'll continue next time. I have a lot. I will make an introduction. Today class was messed up on my side. I came late. I should have covered more. But let's do a summary as we close. So in the morning class, we'll try to do a recap of what we did in our last class. We want to bring our attention to the book of Revelation 17. We want to understand about these kingdoms in the book of Revelation 17. So we started by breaking down the verses. John is taken somewhere where John is to be shown the judgment of the whole. Before we know the judgment of the whole, John has to be shown what the whole did for her to receive judgment. So we have just begun building on that concept. And then we want to understand the relationships here between the kings and the woman, and the people and the woman. So in my last class, we tried to break down all that and tried to show that the woman has control over the kings. How does this control look like? I don't know whether to call it a co-rulership, but this co-rulership, one seems to be advising the other. One seems to be controlling the other. And then we ask ourselves, why is that so? It's because the woman knows that if I have the king in my pocket, I have access to the people, the inhabitants of the earth. So, and the woman, to reach to the people, needs to have the king in place. So we were able to do all that. And then we came and tried to understand, how does this relationship look like? Because when you bring the thoughts of Revelation 12 and those of 13, you'll realize that in Revelation 12, you have a pure woman. As well, you have a dragon being ridden by the whore. In Revelation 17, the perspective is more dealing with the whore, not the pure woman. But you know the pure woman exists. And you try to give the pure woman a name, saints. And then, if you're able to see that, then you know this is a conflict between two women over someone. It's a war where a whore is riding on a dragon, wanting to persecute the pure woman. And the other perspective, the same given by Revelation 17, it's a woman riding on a beast, wanting to persecute the saints. And I hope we were able to see the saints as the pure woman. So this is the great controversy, or between two entities that have been named as women. And I tried to deepen my understanding on how this relationship looks like. Because in my first perspective, what I understand today is we would refer to a relationship between a married person and unmarried as adultery. But the perspective we have seen from the Bible, it more focuses when you go to the Old Testament there, Leviticus and Exodus, you shall not commit adultery. How does this adultery look like? Leviticus seems to focus more on the perspective, on the status of the woman. It's an advice given to the woman. You go to Matthew, and Christ focuses more on the man. So you need to harmonize the two. And then we tried to see the spirit of what the Bible defines as adultery. In most of the examples we have, it focuses on the status of the woman being married. And then you look at the marriage that is taken place in Revelation 17:2. There is a relationship between a woman and the kings. You attribute kings to male, to man, and the woman. And when you juxtapose the woman of Revelation 12, the pure, and the one of Revelation 17, you'll actually realize that if this woman is trying to quote the kings, this also would be trying to quote the same kings. And what the kings do, instead of them choosing to be betrothed to the pure woman, they choose the whore. And it becomes a bad model of marriage. And that's why we are going to see this model resulting into a problem. It ends up in judgment. The whore has to be judged because that alliance, that marriage resulted into something bad. So in my next class, if I have one, I think I'll try to continue the same thought. So we were yet to establish where John is standing. We were yet to explain more about the people and why they become a point of concern to the woman, because the woman wants to control the people. And then we are going to see how this affair between women kings, the woman kings, and the people leads to. And after we do that, then we are going to continue, I think it's from verse 7, where now John is told the mystery or expounded a better understanding of the beast, the woman, and the heads. And we'll try to understand more about the beast. We'll try to understand more about the heads. We'll try to understand more about the 10 horns. You know how the beast has 7 heads and 10 horns. We'll try to break down all that and then realize more about this judgment here. Because I'm saying, if you go to the original intent of Revelation 17, this judgment already taken place. Whatever John is being shown, it's something that has already taken place in point 3. But we also see, we can take the same, we can still see the same concepts, though being fulfilled, we expect to see them done what? Repeated. All I'm trying to say, this woman on a scarlet beast did something here and receives judgment. And that is already fulfilled history. But we are going to see the woman again on a beast doing something that results into a judgment in the future from where John stands. We would say this is the history of the 5th kingdom, and we expect to see the same dynamics in the history of the 7th kingdom. So if at all we need to come nearer to our dispensation and understand how that history looks like, what the woman is doing today, how the woman is riding on a beast, who is the woman, who is the beast, and all that, we need to spend more of our time on this. Once we are in harmony, we are in a concord with all this, it becomes so easier now to interpret who is the woman in our dispensation, because you can now easily relate. How does she look like in our dispensation? What about the beast? What is this work she's about to do? And this work which will result into her judgment. And we will try to bring it closer to our dispensation and see how that looks like. I'll just say that's the summary of what I intend. Don't know when we're gonna finish that. But I feel God will still create time for me. Even last year, we didn't have an opportunity to have a class. I think when I said we will continue next year, everyone was like, before next year, many things will have emerged and developed, but I still had a chance. I will stop there. I think we can pray. Thank you, Lord, for the chance to come and share your word. As we continue to juggle this concept in the book of Revelation, many have desired always to understand. But for this movement, you've given us the ability, the eyesight, to come debate on these matters, but then come up with a better understanding of what you wanted to communicate to us. Continue nourishing us with truth, giving us a mentality to see things as you have explained them through your prophets. We still have other sessions at the afternoon for where people still have lessons. We ask that you will still give us clarity of thought to be able to understand and see things clear. And where we are making mistakes, God, that you correct us so that we may be in harmony. Be with us even as we don't partake of physical food. I pray this believing and trusting in Jesus' name.